Hey guys, welcome to another edition of About Last Night. I'm going to be twisting things up a little bit, and instead of making a dinner, we're going to be making an overnight breakfast. So it is something that you can make in the evening, but then when you wake up in the morning, it's beautiful and ready to go. So what we're going to be making is an apple cinnamon oatmeal that you cook overnight in the crock pot. Now in an effort of using my things, I'm pulling out a crock pot that I got from my mother-in-law a million years ago. So normally you would put this together and cook it late at night before you go to bed and wake up to it. But because I don't really know this crock pot and I'm afraid to leave it while I'm sleeping, it's afternoon here and I'm going to be putting it in now and taking it out tonight before bed for the big reveal. And then the ingredients couldn't be any simpler. The main ingredient is oatmeal. You're going to use 2 cups at least. And I just use old-fashioned, regular, plain Quaker oatmeal. You guys can use whatever you prefer, steel cut, instant, whatever you want, just preferably not flavored. Then we have 2 cups of apples sliced. Now, you guys can slice your own. I'm just going with what I have in the fridge. So I already have these sliced up, easy peasy mixed apple slices that I got from the grocery store. And I'm just going to put in 2 big handfuls, if not more. For sweetness in this recipe, you're going to use a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. You can use real brown sugar if you prefer. I like to use the Splenda brown sugar. I try to cut back on my sugar, so to me this is great. You're going to use a 1/4 cup. We're also going to be using cinnamon. I like to use Saigon cinnamon. I like to be fancy. I got this at Walmart. I think it was under $4. And you're going to use at least a 1/4 teaspoon. I love cinnamon, so I'm going to use quite a bit more than that. You're also going to add a dash of salt. So when it's in a sweet recipe, I like to use the pink Himalayan. So you're just going to add a little pinch. You're going to be adding a cup of milk to the recipe. I'm choosing to use half and half. You can use whatever milk you prefer. Almond milk, unsweetened coconut milk. You can use whole milk, skim, whatever you prefer. But I'm going to be using a cup of half and half. Then last but not least, you're going to add water, 3 cups of water. Now the big secret to this recipe is you do not stir the ingredients. So as you assemble them into the crock pot, you just place them inside and you do not stir anything up. The first thing we're going to add into the crock pot is apples. 2 apples sliced. Now because I'm into meal prepping and I like to stretch everything, I'm going to add about half of that container of apples in. It's probably going to be equivalent to about 5 or 6 apples. So I'm going to be tripling the recipe. So this is how many apples I used. So now I'm going to add the brown sugar. The recipe calls for a 1/4 cup, but because I've pretty much tripled the recipe, I'm going to use what's left in this bag, which is probably a good half a cup, 3/4. So this is with the brown sugar added. Now I'm just going to add the cinnamon, and as I said, I like a lot. And then a dash of salt. Okay, so now it's time to add the oatmeal. It smells delicious already and nothing's even happened. Now when we have oatmeal in the mornings, we have a half a cup. I put 3 cups of oatmeal in because I really want the apples to steal the show. Being lower carb, I want to focus on the apples more than the oatmeal. And I'll be putting the recipe below if you want to just follow it to the directions and not multiply the recipe. But it called for 2 cups of oatmeal. Now it's time for our milk. So it's 1 cup of milk. I'm actually going to be still using the 1 cup, but I'm going to do half and half. Remember, we're layering the ingredients in the crock pot. We're not stirring anything. I'm just pouring this on top. And then the last ingredient is water, and I'm going to stick to the recipe and use 3 cups of water. I like my oatmeal a little bit thicker, so I'm not adding extra liquid, even though I did add extra apples and a little bit of extra oatmeal to my recipe. Okay, and just because it's me, I'm adding a little more cinnamon on top at the end. And then all we do is put it on low for 8 to 9 hours and it's done. So I'll see you in about 8 hours. Oh my God, you guys, it's 8 hours later. It's time to check it out. Oh my gosh, you guys, talk about breakfast of champions. All I did this morning was I took a big scoop of the apple oatmeal out of the crock pot. I mixed in a half a scoop of vanilla protein powder, And I reheated it up and I drizzled it with half and half. It's delicious. So good. It's like an apple pie.